another East Coast couple here, right?
Yeah,
I
we do.
absolutely love our next guests. John Picciano is running a highly successful MSO in Long Island, New York. Flower Hill's a fourth generation business, probably going to be fifth pretty soon. It's flourishing because of John's leadership, but also their family's understanding of how to respectfully and effectively involve the next generation. That's what I learned from John, right? Joining John is his rock star next gen family member, Ghaliya Ibrahim, is here joining us. Great to see you guys. What do you think of the summit so far?
Awesome, as always. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for doing this for the industry. Thank you for just kind of setting us off for 2025 in a positive direction. And let's go crush it, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of what inspires me about your business, and it's pretty rare that a business can pass the business on to the next generation so successfully. And I know there's probably been bumps along the way, but a lot of shops are super nervous about the next generation taking over the business, aren't they? Right? And here you're crushing it as a fourth generation business owner. What advice would you give to our viewers that are maybe considering passing it on to the next generation?
I mean, one of the biggest things, and I spoke about this, at the mastermind event, because when you asked us to speak, it really kind of gave me some time to kind of think about why were we successful? Why are we successful? Why were we successful in the past, and why are we successful now going forward? And as I was thinking about it, and really just thinking back about how it went from my grandfather to my father, then my father to me, and now Ghaliya is involved in the business as well, and you know there is this dichotomy that goes on between the generation that's established and the generation that is coming in or trying to establish themselves in the business. And the established generation really kind of needs to start off with kind of respecting the generation that's coming in. The generation that's coming in, views things a little differently. I'm a Gen Xer and Ghaliya is a Gen Z. So, there's a lot of differences between the
There's a
generations.
lot of potential friction there that you've got to be open to talking your way through, probably.
Yeah, there is, but what goes on is, and that's what the other part of this goes, is that the generation that is established needs to have respect from the generation that's coming in. But the generation that's established in the business really kind of needs to almost relinquish a little bit of power and authority and perspective on things to the incoming generation, and really say, the world is going into that direction. The people of that generation have a tremendous amount of value because they were born in a world that was just slightly different from the generation or two before them. So, I've really kind of been conscious to really respect their perspective on things and really kind of hear them. And when they have ideas, their ideas aren't good. Their ideas most of the time are great, really great, because they have a perspective that I don't have.
They're just different than yours.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Ghaliya, I have a question for you. So, I mean, I've been blown away by your performance in this industry. I mean, you stepped in, you're new, you're fresh, and it felt like you went from 0 to 60 in like seconds. How did you do it?
So thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really happy to be here. Very excited about it. So I did grow up within the industry. My grandfather did raise me since I was one, and he practically lived in the shop. So I spent a lot of time there. I remember times from when I was a kid, he's smoking a cigar. I'm passing him a clamp before he welds on a quarter panel. So I was familiar with, I guess, the culture of the industry, and then I
So what
became.
you're saying is we need to give a bunch of babies over to that kind of a system there where we get them from
Body
one,
shop,
one
body
years
shop
old.
daycare, body
That's
shop
right.
daycare.
Body shop daycare.
Yeah, I think we're on to something, brother.
That's going to
That's it.
solve our talent shortage problems
I
forever.
figured it out. That's what I wanted to know. That's awesome.
And then I became fully immersed in 2021. One thing that I can thank my uncle for is how he immersed me into the business. I started off as a receptionist, then I became the manager of the parts department, managed all the QuickBooks and the finances within the company, so I understood what expenses were cost of goods, and I basically understood every single part of the business financially, and then how to manipulate everything so you could be as profitable as possible. Um, and then over time, I became a licensed appraiser about a year ago. And now I manage the shop's production and manage about 20 different people as well. So I would say just learning every single part of the business and getting mastery or mastering every single part of it is what allowed me to be so immersed into it and understand it and be able to grow and prosper within it.
Yeah,
And there was one point where I was like, what's my uncle doing? Like he's gonna make me crack. I'm doing everything, but I get it now and I appreciate it. And it's made me who I am.
Yeah, I got to brag on Ghaliya for just a second. You know, I'm being totally transparent. These guys are both they're in our elite mastermind groups, and they're cranking out KPIs higher than almost every shop in the country, and it's just amazing to see what you've done in the last couple of years since we started working with you. It's really phenomenal. Um, so what advantages do you guys see as a family-owned business? What strategic advantages are there over being like a corporate-owned store?
We're super nimble, man.
And why is that?
We can make a decision on a dime. We can see something, take advantage of it. We don't have to answer to anyone. We have a quick meeting, whether it's a phone call on our way home, a Zoom call, a live meeting, whatever it is, and we could pivot on a dime. And that's what you need nowadays, man. The industry, not just the industry, the entire world is moving so darn fast that if you're in business, you need the ability to pivot on a dime. And if you really have your finger on the pulse of the industry and you're seeing what's coming down, you can pivot like that and you can take advantage of that. Whereas, a major MSO could have 6 months to a year before they can implement the same strategy. I mean, I probably run, every time I talk to Ryan, he probably is, like, oh my goodness, here comes the emails again. I fire off emails when at like 5 o'clock in the morning after I wake up and I'm thinking of Ryan in bed and saying to myself, not in a creepy way, but
Okay, good.
I'm thinking about what's going on and how this platform could help our business. And then I get into the office, I meet with Ghaliya and we discuss it for a few minutes, and then she gives me her ideas, and then she honestly refines what I do and what I'm thinking. And then we all of a sudden, within 3 days, we pivot to something else and we implemented a new system that's adding to efficiency and profitability in the business. Meanwhile, a major MSO, it's, maybe one email sent off. And we accomplished the entire thing. That's a major, major positive.
I think
I,
uh, I was gonna say that I think another positive of it is that we have a family culture within every single location, and people that come to work, they're happy to be there. They feel like it's a family, and going back to the culture, it just people work harder when they're happier. People do better when they're in a better environment. So I think that's a big part of it that we're able to create or bring in that family culture as well within the company.
It's a
those are two
superpower.
huge advantages that big organizations really struggle with. That is, like, I mean, not to be understated there. Like the ability to make executive level decisions on the fly and that family culture. Those are huge.
Yeah, I read a book called The Speed of Trust. And I
Steve
think
Covey.
that really epitomizes an advantage that you have. I feel like families trust each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an inherent trust that goes on, with things, and I don't necessarily. I mean, I have an image of holding Ghaliya in my hands when she was a newborn, and
Wow.
how can I not trust her? I've known her entire life. I remember like it was yesterday, the day I got the call from my sister that she was born.
Oh,
So, that kind of stuff is like, who else would I trust? What higher level of trust can you have in somebody? So, you know, that's totally true. And you know what? We're kind of synced. Our minds are synced, especially with the business in a way that is really positive. She knows what I'm thinking. I know what she's thinking, and we just go with it, man.
Yeah. That's such good stuff.
Amazing operators. Guys, thanks for coming on.
Ghaliya,
Thank you,
continue
guys.
being an inspiration to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so
Love
much.
you guys.
Right back
Yeah.
at you.
Have a great rest
Thanks,
of your
guys.
summer.
Guys.